Okay. So this is, I kind of skipped through the login part of it. Most of you have already gotten logged in, but if you haven't, I'll give you a quick couple little pieces of information. I know some people have done it a little bit backwards, but basically you need to watch for the email from Blackbaud, and you need that email, and you're gonna click on accept invitation or confirm an invitation or whatever. I can't remember exactly what it says. That will take you to your Blackbaud page. If you have not already created a login, that's where you'll create your first login. However, if you've done it in reverse and you've already created that login, go ahead and log in using what you already created. Then it will automatically direct you to the page where you need to link. And that is how you're going to link your account to the email address you're using. Again, if most everybody's already logged in, because I have that question a lot in emails that they've kind of stepped ahead, and that's fine. There's a way to get around it. All right. So a couple tabs. Usually when you first log in, it's going to take you directly to your home page. This home page is just some news clips that Blackbaud has written up for everyone, just to give you a little new information on what Blackbaud might be up to or what they can do for us at this point. If you want to look through the homepage, it's totally fine. So your most important tabs are the fundraising tab and the list tab. So we'll go through fundraising first. If you click on work, and our load time for these website pages are slow as well, sorry. Okay, portfolio is a list of your constituents. It's up here at the top on these first three tabs. It's also down here under assigned. So if you click on either link, the 181, it'll load up all of my constituents. Now, a couple things I want to tell you about looking up constituents. The initial default settings, I should say, you'll have your constituent name, address, phone number, your first gift, last gift, or latest gift, and largest gift. You might want to use that information. You might not want to. There is this button up here. It looks like an open book. It's called Choose Columns. If you open this Choose Columns, you can get rid of whatever columns you don't want to see and whatever columns you might want to see. So a couple of things I wanted to point out today. A lot of people might not want to see that first gift. It might, they may have given back in 2004 and it's outdated now. So you can get rid of that column. But a couple I wanted to point out. Number one is the constituent number. Constituent ID. I've already clicked that. And the reason that's important, this is a common question, so I want to make sure I address it. The reason this is important, because if you want to export your list of donors, then you're going to have your donor names come over. And you know how many Redeemer churches and First Presbyterian churches there are. So this constituent ID is going to help separate them apart, in addition to their address, of course. But I think it's just an easier view. And if you want to do any subtotaling in Excel, I think it'll help with that as well. If you keep scrolling down, you'll see some of the other ones that are checkmarked that you might want to get rid of. So here's your opportunity to get rid of the first gift. The latest gift may be more helpful to you. And then the largest gift, if you keep up with stuff like that, you might or might not want to keep it. And then if you scroll all the way down to the S's, well, that's on the gift list, I overstepped my words. So whatever you choose to check mark or take away, you just apply those changes. And then you can move your columns around. So this constituent ID, I'm going to move it all the way to the end. And it didn't, it went all the way out to the other side of the screen. I can't seem to get it back at this point, but you can move them around. It was my gist of that plan. So anyways, the importance of this list is this is the list of all your donors. If you can, you'll be able to tell I had 181 showing up and now it's down to 12. I have a specific date range in there and I must have pre-filtered it or something. So if you go into your filter, so this filtering can help you. You might not be able to see all their gifts, but it can help you. Let's say you want to send out a thank you letter if they gave around Christmas time. You can go into your filters and go to giving and then choose specific date range. and then put your date range in. So this is an old fund, so it hasn't received anything in 2019, so I'm using older dates. So I'll put in November 21st, 17 to January 1st of 18. So let's say I wanted to send thank you notes to all them. Click apply filters. And these are the 12 people that gave to me in the Christmas time frame. So if I want to write a special thank you or send out an appeal or whatever the case may be. So even though you can't see their gifts in that date range, you still know they gave in that date range if you use the filter. The other thing I wanted to point out was addresses. I think I've told most of you guys on the phone or emails if you've asked. If you click on the address, 101 Carriage Lane, it brings up a Google Maps. I see a baby in the background. Hi, baby. So she's cute. It'll pull up a Google Maps, so that's kind of nice. If you click on the email, it treats it just like any other email you click on. It'll start preparing an email for you to send out to that person. So there's lots of good information to be had from this. And again, the most important is the addresses and email addresses so you can communicate with your donors. All right, so the next thing right beside portfolio is gifts. If you click on that, if you click on the gifts, I've already got that pre-filtered as well. You can see it in the blue. Whenever you set a filter, it shows up in that blue. But I had the 34.92 and it's pared down to 59 because I've used a date range again. It's the same type of filtering. You can choose columns, but this is the column I wanted to show you earlier. A lot of you have donors that give through foundations and other agencies, most foundations. So if you scroll down here to the S's, this is where you're going to get your self-credit information. So when a gift comes in, we hard credit it to the company that wrote the check, so National Christian Foundation or the PCA Foundation. But you might want to sell who gave you the gift. Did Karen Fowler give me the gift, or did Shirley give me the gift? So if you click on that soft credit and you click apply changes, that soft credit will show you the person's name that gave to you. Now, the soft credit is going to be in black. It's not going to be a direct link to the person's name. So you'll have to go back to your profile or find the donor somehow and click on them from there to get their address and phone number and stuff. The other thing I want to point out, reference, is really comments. So if you see that, it's just if our donors put a comment on their check or on their online donation, it shows up for you guys, a little note. So again, the constituent ID is on here as well. Lots of handy information you might want to add to this. The campaigns and appeal columns you see here, we don't really use these items. Some of our staff ministries, like disaster response or our chaplain's ministry, they send out appeals. But so you guys can, if you want to, you can remove those line items so it just doesn't clutter up your view. And again, the filter is pretty much the same. To get your date range, it'll be on the gift basics. And you can set a specific date range if you choose. I'm not going to export this list we have up. I'm going to wait until we get to our other area to export and show you a few things. So I think that was that. I did forget one thing. I'm looking at my notes. Back on the portfolio tab, I'm not going to click on it, but when you have your list of donors, if you use a third party, another mail system like MailChimp or Constant Contact, if you want to export those donors, they export to a nice, neat Excel spreadsheet, or it could be saved as a CSV. And I know those systems both use either one of those file types. So you can simply import them up to MailChimp or Constant Contact or whatever else is out there to use. So that's another helpful. I kind of skipped over that part, sorry. Okay, so the second tab up at the top is called List, and we'll go to Gifts. Now again, well, and I'm going to start a new one off so you can see. Okay, so if you haven't ever created one, your screen's going to look like this. you can say build a new list or open a saved list. However, if you've saved any list, they're going to be right up here in these beginning tabs. Build a new list. And you can either start filtering them now or show all of them and then filter them down. I tend to filter down. I think it's just a personal preference. All right. You can extend out your column width if you need to. Okay, so right now I have 33,492. I want to filter it and add some columns and all the good stuff. So I'm going to say choose columns because I think I might have some foundations in here. I'm going to click on my constituent ID. And that is important in this gift list because it'll help us filter and sort and when we export it to Excel. Then I'm going to scroll down and get my soft credit here. So if I have any foundations, the name will show up. And we're going to watch it roll. All right, so I've added those columns. I forgot to take out campaign and appeal, so I can shorten this for you guys. Let me do that real quick. The balance, while we're here, and we see the word balance up there, that is if somebody has given a pledge, and if you want to know what their balance is. If they pledged you 100,000 and they're down to 8,500 now or something, or 8,000. I'm going to scoot this constituent ID over just because I like it to the left of the constituent name. There's my soft credit column. Now, just for today's purposes, I don't want to download all 3,000 of these. So I'm going to place the filter here. Oh, it's up on Gift Basics. I'll do around the same date range I had earlier. I can remember what it was. Okay, this should pare it down some. 248. That's not too bad. Okay, so you can put them in order here. If you click on this constituent ID, it's going to put them in alphabetical order, which is helpful. It takes a little bit, but it's not terrible to wait. I see my dates of the gift, and if I didn't mention this earlier, anywhere that is blue, that means it's clickable. So we'll click on Carriage Lane, PC. A window will open up to the right-hand column, and you can see more information on this particular donor. So from here, you can always get to addresses and phone numbers and email addresses. It'll come up in a minute. It's always slow. So there's several ways to get to the same information. You don't always have to go back to portfolio, but you can pull them up one-on-one on this end as well. It's still rolling. I don't know if y'all have a tough time at home or at your churches, if it's as slow as it is here. It seems to take a while for the pages to pull up. All right, we're going to quit waiting on that. So you get the gist of that. I'm going to X out of there. Okay, so I'm going to export this, show you how to export, and then I'll show you a few things in Excel that I was told might be helpful. And if it's elementary Excel stuff, I'm so sorry for those of you who have to listen, but some people might need the help. And then after we do that, we'll cover the save and the share buttons. But first, we're going to get to export. So if you get your list and you get it all sorted how you want, or you're filtered and your columns, you got everything you want, click on export, and you'll see down in the bottom right, it says exporting. And now it's done, file export complete. So you just click on the download file button. And if you'll give me a minute, I'm going to have to open this up and share this new Excel with you guys. So this will be another quick second. I hope quick. You see that Excel already? Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. All right, you still see it? All right. So first thing I'm going to do, because I like to see everything, is I just extend out. Well, hold on. I got screens opening them up all by themselves. Okay. Okay. So column A, column B, column C, I don't think those are relevant for any of us. So you can either hide or delete them however you choose. I tend to hide just in case I do need them. You can keep the anonymous one on if you want to, but I will hide it again. All right, there's your constituent ID. For some reason, when it exports, they call it constituent lookup ID, but this is very relevant for today's purposes, I think. We'll get to this one-time gift thing in a moment because I know that is a major question you guys have. Don't let me forget. I'm gonna write that down actually, so I don't forget later to mention it. And we already know our names, so if you want to leave that column, you're welcome to, or you can get rid of it. You already know what fund it's going to. Okay, so this was a simple export. So I've created my date range previously. I exported it, and I want a total of what I received for that date range. So you could simply come all the way to the bottom, your first empty cell there, click on auto sum, hit enter, and you can see that I received over $56,000 in that little time frame. That's kind of a lot of money, I think. I think that was only 3 or 4 months, 2 or 3 months. Okay, the other thing, auto sum is pretty simple. It's off the home screen or home page, home tab, excuse me. The other thing I wanted to show you is how to subtotal. This is, I was helping a couple people with this just a month ago. I think this is important for a date range. And that way you can see if they're given weekly, monthly. It'll help you determine their time frame, how often they give. So I'm just going to click on the first name, or you could click on the first ID, it doesn't matter. Go to data, find the subtotal button over here, and you'll get a nice little wizard window to help you out. The first, at each change in, this is where I think the constituent ID is important, because again, the First Presbyterian churches or the Redeemers or even Christ Presbyterian, you know, there's always several of them with same name, different addresses. So at each change in constituent ID, we want to sum, and I want to sum under the amount column. I'm going to uncheck that soft credit. That was it does default automatically, so you might want to look through it and make sure nothing's checked. Excuse me. And then you have some options down here. Replace current subtotals. I guess that's if you've already subtotaled it once. You've got your page break between groups. That kind of just puts an extra line in there so you can view it easily. And then summary below the data. I don't know where it puts it if you don't click below the data, maybe off to the side of it in another row or column. So click OK after all that. So it doesn't bold it, unfortunately, although it does bold, if you look here on row 3, it does bold the constituent number where my total is going to be over here under the I column. So that's good. So Ashbury gave $50 in that date range. Carriage Lane PC gave a total of $40.23 within my date range again. $500 for the next church, $600, and so on and so on. I do like the subtotaling. I actually use subtotaling a lot in my work. I think a lot of us do. All right, so that's the gist of what you can do if you export it to Excel. So that's just your gifts list. Again, if you export your donor list, it's entirely different. That's addresses and stuff, so you can upload to a mail thing. All right, let me see. All right, I'm back on. Let me see. Let me do a new share. I'm gonna get back to my Razor's Edge screen. I've got somebody sitting in the room with me showing me her computer, so I know I'm doing what I'm doing. Okay, so we're back to Razor's Edge. I was gonna tell you about the one-time gifts. And I know this has been a question for a lot of you guys. Everything right now is coming in as a one-time gift. And that's because our online donor portal is not communicating. It's not synced up with Blackbaud. We're still using stewardship right now for our donations, and they're just not communicating. I have to import those one at a time. So that's why everything says one-time gift and not a reoccurring gift when your donors have, in fact, set up reoccurring gifts for 12 months, 24 months. So if you can just be patient with us on that one-time gift, again, you can export the gifts list that I just showed you, and you can see your reoccurrences from there. But we're hoping in the future, the near future, we're definitely changing, but we're going to change to a new system, and we're hoping the reoccurring works at that time. And then, but of course, for the checks that are mailed, we have no idea if they're reoccurring or not. So those are always going to say one-time gifts. But again, you can, if you download or export, excuse me, you can see that reoccurrence. Okay, so to save a list. So if you'll notice up here to the furthest left tab, 2017, previously yesterday, I did save a list. And I named it 2017. So these are all my gifts for 2017. I may have been, I was going to start doing one, but I can simply click on the X and delete that last one. Now, the one that I've set up today, this was just a certain date range. I don't even remember what it was, 11/21, I think. So I can click Save, Save a New List, and I can date it. Can't even type. I can date it what I want to date it, so I can look at it tomorrow or the next day. So if you go ahead and create you one for 2019, and if you want to date it January 1, 19 to 12/31/19, it should always, and I say should because I know every now and again we have glitches, but it should always update for you every time you open up your list, because we're in that current year and you're always going to be getting new gifts. So if you want to go ahead and start your 2019 one, you can do that. So down here, no one else can have access. I say select that. We really don't want you putting lists out there where others can view them or manage them, because really all it's doing is kind of clogging up the saved list, and people are looking at it thinking, or getting confused really is what they're getting. But I get lots of phone calls and emails about that. Why is this list out there? Basically, they can't see your information if you do save a list out there, but you've provided a template, basically. So if they pull it up on their end, it'll show up their information for whatever parameters you've set on it. So I say click on no one else can view access. And that's a default, so it should be easy. All right, so there's my list, dated 11/21/16. And you can, there's a delete button. You can delete it from there, or you can push on the X and click it. And I've just realized I forgot one other portion. So that's basically it on the gifts. I realized I forgot one other portion under the fundraising tab, and I'm so sorry. I tend to forget this all the time. It's another important piece that I know y'all like. So it's fundraising and reporting. Now, if you are looking at the original set of instructions we emailed you, it was called Analyze. The Blackbaud did some updates and they changed the word to reporting. It's loading, it's loading. I think I've set this back up to look very similar to the default view. I wish I could make everyone's default for them, but I can't make global changes of that nature. So I wanted to point this out so you can see what you need to see. Okay, so your overview screen basically is your number one screen. If you go to the funds, it's going to be the same thing. Okay, so let's set up our view, and then I want to show you a few more little tricks of the trade. Campaign description. We have no campaigns, but something has to be checked, so the empty value is defaulted there. So that's fine, leave that as is. Your fund description. Everyone needs to go in here, and if you have new buddies coming on board with M&A, they can call me, or you can share this information if you want. But everything by default, all of our previous funds for years and years past are defaulted, checkmarked. So you need to go in here, and the first thing is click clear. And I'll tell you why, because after you find your fund, it's impossible to get everything else to clear out, because I've messed it up myself several times. Type in your last name, you find your fund, you click it, and then click apply. That will put your fund description in this box. That way you know you're only looking at yours and you've cleared out everything else. Appeal description, again, unless you know you've used an appeal, don't worry about this. It's also defaulted. I don't know why these are unchecked. And the previous fund description was all check marked, but it was. So just click in here, make sure it says empty value. And if you don't have any new changes, this apply button will not brighten up. It'll stay gray. Then your date range. You can set your date range to anything you want. This is January 1, 17 to December 31, 17. The date range is a little weird to play around with. Sometimes you actually have to type in the entire date with the slash marks. It doesn't automatically put them in. Or you can open up your calendar and back it up 12 months, however you want to do it. But just know it's kind of problematic from time to time. All right, and then once you get all these things set as you want, you'll see your little wheel spinning until it clears. One more box, this last box on the right I wanted to tell you real quick. If you open this drop-down box, you have two options. You have committed and you have received. Here in the office, you know we post batches all the time, whether they're check batches or online donations. And we have a couple steps we have to go through. We have to enter, we have to commit, and we have to post. So if you set your revenue type to received, that means you'll see the gifts after they've been posted. If you set it to committed, that means you'll see the gifts after they've been committed before posting. There's not a difference between those two other than you're going to see committed gifts in there quicker. So you can set it to either one you like. Excuse me. All right. The other thing I got, let me try to minimize some things. Okay. Do you see where it see these unsaved views here? If you click that drop-down box, I found this out just yesterday, so I've not been withholding any information from you guys. But just yesterday, I found this. I can save that current view, and I can name it. I think it was 2017. So I can name it anything I want, and I can save all the fund description, the appeal description, everything we filled out across the top. I can save it. And then anytime I go in there and if I start messing around, monkeying around with the different date ranges, I can always go back in here, oops, excuse me, and click on the whichever one I want to look. So I was playing with this yesterday. So I already found the 2016, 2017. Here, I'll go to the 18 one and show you that I saved it, and we can just simply go back to it. So I found that this is very handy to have. And again, I just saw it yesterday. So that's good. Okay, now that was, again, right here in this, it'll say Unsafe Views for you guys at first until you come up with them. And then the next little button on the side, schedule emailing of this dashboard. I don't know if you can see that on your screen. So if you click there, you can schedule this dashboard to show up in your emails daily, weekly, or monthly. And I actually have known about this little tidbit for quite a little while now, and I've forgotten I didn't put it in initial instructions, and I'm sorry for that. I don't know that I knew about it at that point. But you can email only selected tabs, which is the overview. Oh, the campaigns or the fund tab or the appeals tab. And you can select your time you want to email to you. So if you want it first thing every morning, you can tell it to come in at 7 and you can get up and look at it every day. Now that's just going to be a PDF to you, so that's not going to be interactive. You can't click on it or anything. So, and it does work because I've done it to my own email before and it does come in. Now, if you ever get tired of seeing them, you can simply unsubscribe, just like you would unsubscribe to any other web emails that you come in. Scroll all the way to the bottom and there's a place in there to unsubscribe. Now, I told you earlier that there's several ways to get the same information. So here are 2 more ways. I see this revenue of $1783 and 13 gifts. Both of them are going to pull up the exact same information, but not a big deal. So if I click on that 1783, it opens up a new window to the right, and it's just going to be a list of my gifts for that date range I've selected. And there they are. And it has the same choose columns, the filters tab, and the export button. What it doesn't have is an ability to save it. And that's because you're not in your list tab, but you're viewing a list from elsewhere. But you can add your soft credit from there or whatever you want to see. And then if you click on the 13, it's the same exact list. So both of those pieces of information will give you the same thing. All right, so it's very handy system to have. It's just a little learning curve, really, I think. So everybody can unmute, or I'll unmute you or whatever, and I'll share my video again, I think, if I can figure out how to do it. Stop share. Okay, so y'all can just ask questions if you have some. I'm going to click unmute all. Hey, Bob. Nice to finally meet you. Any questions?
Hey, Karen, Mark Winton here. I'm just getting started. I'm probably the newest rookie here. So the list of contributors, is that the list? Do I formulate that list, or do you all formulate that list based on gifts actually received?
That does come from us based on gifts received. That's part of our database administrative view. So that is coming from us. So if you see any discrepancies in there, for sure, let us know. Like if somebody, if we have the wrong name, or if we have two of somebody or anything, let us know, because we will need to fix that on our data, in our database. All the information you see here is coming from our database. Does that help?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else?
Yeah, how do I get a list out? Like if I want to mail people from my list, or if I just want to download this and put it into an Access database, which I'm more comfortable with, how do I just download my transactions and download my donors and their addresses and their email and mail permissions?
Okay, on the portfolio, so fundraising, I might have to take notes. I might look down while I'm doing this. Fundraising, and then your work under fundraising, and then click on your portfolio. That's going to be your list of your donors. And from there, you can export that list, and that is going to export it to Excel. You can save it as Excel or CSV. It's been years since I've had to work with Access. I don't know how it uploads. But
yeah, I can do that. That's not a problem.
Okay. All right. So it'll upload from Excel for you.
Yeah. But the question that I would have is, so I'm gonna create an export, and I'm going to save it as a list, right?
Right.
And then I'm going to export it or download it, and then it should be consistent. Every time I download it, it'll be the same, and I can just load it up into Access. But the problem that I'm having is that I can't find a place to add the address or the permissions, and I don't want to download stuff, email everybody, or mail everybody and violate permissions on those.
You mean if the individuals have said no emails, or okay, I'm not gonna do it now because I have everybody on the line, or if y'all all want to see it, we can try it. But if you go into choose columns, there might be a solicit code option.
Yeah. I checked in the select columns, and I didn't see anything about solicit mode, and I didn't see anything about address. So maybe I'm looking in the wrong spot, but I go to fundraising, I look at my donors, I can't find an address or solicit code.
Oh,
it's very possible I'm doing it wrong.
Oh, you're not even seeing the addresses either?
No.
Okay. We'll work with you one-on-one. How about that? I'll work with you one-on-one with that. And I'll send you some screenshots, and then maybe together we can get it worked out.
That would be great. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Dan. Anybody else?
Hey, Dan.
Well,
Dan,
go ahead.
I was just looking through the list myself, and there is solicit code when I'm in portfolio. So like seminary attended, solicit code, standard mailing. So I do see it there when I'm in portfolio.
Okay.
If that helps. If not,
So it's in portfolio, not fundraising, but portfolio?
so fundraising portfolio tab.
Oh, okay. All right. I'll look for that. Thanks.
Okay, thanks, Luke. I thought it may be there, but I couldn't remember for sure. But that's those solicit codes we do if a donor has requested us to take them off a mailing list or no emails, which we very rarely get any no emails from people, but we do get no mailings. So those are solicit codes, and you'll see those there. And then again, if you have donors that tell you they don't want to be on the mail list anymore, if you want to convey that information to us, we'll change it in the main database too. So you can see it all the time and it won't be new news to you. Thanks.
We get a lot of email, from Blackbaud about, different kind of marketing tools and things. How much of that is pertinent to us? I'm sorry, I have the hiccups. And how much should we just kind of ignore?
Marketing tools. If you see anything right now, we have we're just, as you know, we're just got this implemented and rolled out to everyone. And we know there are some features out there that we haven't turned on for you guys, but if you come across in your reading of some things that would be helpful for you, we definitely want to hear your feedback and your input, and it will be things that we will look at in the future and make a decision on to turn on or not. So definitely let us know if there's something that you think would be helpful. And I'll bring it up. And you don't even have to tell me if you want to just go directly to whomever you might report to, if you want to tell Jill or you have a relationship directly with Michelle or whatever, or you can certainly tell me as well. And then we will evaluate it and look at it. But again, we've just been trying to roll this out initially. So yeah, we would love the feedback and help.
So just so I understand, the initial rollout has the functionality that we've just gone over. It's
exactly
simply a gift tracking. A gift tracking.
Right.
Oh, sorry.
It's all right.
Okay, that's helpful to know.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else? If anybody has chatted and I don't see it, because I don't see any chats, can you speak up in unmute yourself and ask me that way, because I don't even see the chats. And by the way, this is my first Zoom call, so I might not know where every button is.
You crushed it for your first one.
Thanks.
Yeah, you're doing great, Tracy. Just to say thank you for showing us how to use the tools, and even just your standard practice and how you get it to Excel and do the subtotaling. That's really helpful to see. So thanks.
Thanks. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet all of you. And I finally get to put faces with you people that I talk to in email all the time. All right. Well, if there's no more questions, we can wrap up. And if you think of questions later on, you know, my email is kfowler, F as in Frank, OWLER at pcanet.org. And I do see a chat button now, so I'll try it. And most of you already know how to call or email, so. And my name is Karen. Somebody just chatted in my chat, told me to say my name. I'm actually logged in as Tracy, but I am Karen. She's allowed me to use her login for the day. And this is being recorded, and it's going to go on Karen Schwartz is going to post it for us, I think, on our YouTube page. But we'll put that email out. And everybody that's attended, and even people that have emailed me and not in attendance, I'll send out an email with the link probably tomorrow. So, and again,
Karen?
yeah.
Is there like an advanced users group or some kind of like group of guys that just get together and say, hey, I found this trick, I found that trick, and I mean, I kind of understand where the stuff is, and I played enough around with the stuff to know how to do things, but I'm not sure that I know what's valuable to do. And I'm interested in the intersection between actually finding my donors and working with them, and the how to navigate the system piece. And I don't know exactly what's effective. Like for instance, you did that demonstration for going into, I forget where it was, but there was a chart of a date range and who were donors in that section, and being able to email yourself a daily or weekly update of that. And I'm kind of thinking, okay, I see that I can do that. How do I make that effective for my fundraising? Like, is there a way that I can see, like, here are all the new donations that have come in this week, so that I can, send a thank you text or something like that? I'm not, so I'm interested in that intersection between what I can do and what's useful to do. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. So your first question is, I do not know, the answer to that is no, I do not know of an advanced users group. So I personally don't know a good way to help make that beneficial. There are on Black, I don't know that you can access it though. There is a Blackbot community, and you might can ask questions, and that might can help with fundraising. So I don't know the login. Let me write it down and by your name and see if I can help get you there. But I know they do they have different groups and different forums, thank you. And you might could find one that could be beneficial for the fundraising. And that's what Blackbot is all about. They, created this software for fundraisers. So it would be a good place to check. I do know that there are some other church planners out there that have already mentioned similar items of this nature to me and how to use the graphs to their benefit. But it kind of, that's not my main concentration. So it kind of, when they say it, I think, oh, that's good that they figured it out. But I haven't figured it out for myself because I'm not a fundraiser. You saw my name on there, but I just changed somebody's old fund to my name. So I'm not a fundraiser. I don't know how to use it. But maybe.
Yeah, let me ask just an additional question then, because I saw that there's an app for Razor's Edge that I can get on my mobile device. And I'm thinking, if I can use that app and tie it to my account, I might be able to use the app to call donors, that just gave, and say, hey, so-and-so just gave. I'm going to give them a call and say thank you. And I'm wondering, I haven't been able to get that app to work. And so, because I need some kind of administrative something or another, or some login, or I don't know what. Is there a way that app can work?
I don't think so right now, Dan. I've checked. I have a point of contact at Stewardship. And, you're talking about Razor's Edge. I'm so sorry. No, we're not quite synced up with the app, the Razor's Edge app. I'm sorry, I thought we were going back to the Stewardship app, which is not set up either, by the way. They had to take it down and make changes, and they haven't put it back up. But no, not set up yet with the app, and we may be. But I see Michelle's about to say something.
I was just going to say, we will, since you are interested in that, and that could be a useful tool, I will contact our account rep and see what stage that's in and how we could maybe add that tool on for you all to use.
Yeah, I'd be willing to be the volunteer victim to be on that bleeding.
Okay.
I mean, I've got a fair amount of experience with fundraising. My previous business experiences in database marketing and analysis, and I'm currently the data miner at Covenant. So There's a lot, I think, that I understand and know about Access and Excel and PowerPoint and linking all those tools together and being able to build a usable database over time. And so I'm good at that, but my frustration has been understanding how to pull data out and how to use it well. That's the part I don't quite understand yet.
Okay, we will be in contact with our rep and be back in touch with you to see what could be done.
All right, great. Thanks, Michelle. I think an app would be useful as well. Anybody else, guys?
Yeah, if that app becomes available, I'd definitely like to know about it. That'd be very helpful. But
Okay.
Dan, you could send us friend requests on Facebook, and you can create that community. Send me a request on Facebook, and I'll join a community of.
Like I don't have enough to do already. Okay, yeah, I mean I'm into that. I don't know how many of you are friends or can network through, but I'll set up a NXT group on Facebook, and if anybody wants to join it, just look it up. My last name is very easy to spell, so it should be easy to find, right?
Great. Thanks, guys. This is good. Networking. All right. Anybody else? All right. We're done then. So I'll say goodbye. And again, email me, call the main number, whatever, and I'll get back with you and help you as much as possible. And Dan, I did write down about the portfolio, and we're going to try to, and the solicit codes. So we're going to try to get you some help. I'll start that email to you.
That'd be great. I really appreciate the work you guys are putting into this. And Karen, I know that you've been helpful a number of times with me with special requests and all kinds of all my restlessness, and I appreciate that. And
no problem.
Jill and everybody too. I just appreciate the work you put in. It's valuable to me as a church planter, and it helps to advance the kingdom. And so thank you very much for your ministry to us.
Thank you. All right. I'll see all you guys another time.
Thanks, Karen.
You're welcome. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.
What is it?